I believe this committee, which is entrusted with protecting the safety of our families, our communities, and upholding the rule of law, hopefully will see the merits in this legislation and will cast your votes to protect the future victims of those who have chosen to ignore our laws and our state and disrespect our nation. Please vote aye.
Thank you. Let's call the roll.
Solorio?
No.
Solorio, no. Solorio?
No.
Solorio, no. Solorio?
No.
Solorio, no.
A South Bay mother of 4 whose legs were severely injured by a hit-and-run driver last weekend remains hospitalized tonight. But she wanted to share her story of how a suspected drunk driver changed her life in an instant. K2's Lloyd LaCuesta is in San Jose with this report. Lloyd.
Julie, in the surgical intensive care unit of Valley Medical Center tonight, a Los Gatos woman is struggling to repair her body. Police say a car driven by a drunk driver plowed into her as she was taking her son's bicycle off the back of her SUV.
I just was like hit. And I just remember hitting the ground and knowing that I was badly hurt.
It happened 5:30 Sunday evening in the parking lot of Los Gatos baseball field off Blossom Hill Road.
And then, my sons had to see it.
This 44-year-old single mother devotes her life to her 4 sons, ranging from age 6 to 15. And as she lay on the ground with her legs crushed, she heard one of her sons yell out,
"Look, he's leaving, I hate that guy, And obviously the guy was driving away.
But someone followed, and 4 miles away at Blossom Hill and Camden Avenue, 27-year-old Lucio Rodriguez was stopped. He is in county jail tonight facing charges of felony drunk driving and hit and run.
I can't believe they got him. I mean, there's some justice in the world that they would get him. I guess some woman followed him and said, that's the guy. And people have just been amazing.
The following is a very incomplete list of victims whose lives were taken in 2007 by illegal immigrants driving vehicles while impaired and whom also had previous DUI records. This list does not include those who were seriously injured and survived. Danny Sims, Kent Boone, Tessa Tranchant, Amy Marie Courtlang, Allison Kuhnhart, Maria Ortiz, Vanessa Ortiz, Jerry Braswell Jr., and Ernest V. Mendoza, police chief. It's a privilege to live in this great country and this wonderful state of California. But when people come here illegally and abuse that privilege by breaking the law in a manner that puts our families' lives at risk, then we need to have policies in place to ensure the return of those individuals to their country of origin. AB 1882 is not about politics or color or race. It isn't about Democrat or Republican, or white or black or yellow or brown. It's about individuals breaking the law and our duty to create and enforce the law to ensure the safety of our towns and cities. Assembly Bill 1882 is common sense public safety legislation that needs to become law in California. I'd like to thank Assembly members Martin Garrick and Bob Huff for introducing this bill, and I request your A vote on AB 1882. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Chairman Solorio and members. Assembly Bill 1882 is an important public safety legislation that will dramatically reduce the number of tragic and unnecessary DUI deaths and injuries in California. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, approximately 3 in every 10 Americans will be involved in an alcohol-related crash at some point in their lives. Existing law already provides for the deportation of aliens, including non-citizens here legally. That means they're here legally in the country for a variety of offenses. Those offenses include domestic violence, crimes against children, drug offenses, and failure to register as a sex offender are just a few of the crimes for which deportation is required. Like the crimes I mentioned above, the irresponsible act of a felony DUI, whether it is results in bodily injury or property damage, is economically, physically, and emotionally devastating to those who are victims of it. As such, those who are living in the United States illegally and committing such a destructive offense should not be afforded the privilege of continuing to live in California. The crimes I mentioned earlier before are deportable offenses, even for those non-citizens who are living here legally. AB 1882 doesn't even go that far. Under AB 1882, if a person drives drunk and it results in bodily harm or property damage over $600, they must provide valid documentation that they are legally in the United States. If they cannot provide this documentation, their information will be forwarded to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Bureau. This is a simple measure. We are not asking local law enforcement to make a determination as to someone's citizenship status. What we are asking is that when someone acts irresponsible and commits crimes that have a devastating impact on the life and property of victims and the victims' families, and they cannot provide valid documentation of their legal status, that immigration officials are notified so that they can go through the process to determine whether that offender should be allowed to stay in our country.
My name is Sarah Cole. I live in Los Gatos with my 4 sons, Will, Nolan, Patrick, and Dylan. And I am here to physically represent the statistic mentioned by Assemblyman Garrick from the NHTSA. I was involved in an alcohol-related crash that has changed my life forever. I am also a rule follower. I obey the rules of my country because that is what a civilization requires in order to operate successfully. Laws protect the citizens of a country and allow its members to flourish. If I do not obey the rules, I know that I will be responsible for the consequences. I ask you today to pass this bill in order to hold everyone responsible for their actions. Please protect the members of your society. Call the criminals to order and hold them accountable for their actions. Enforce the laws involving all their illegal activities. It is the right thing to do. Thank you very much.
I believe this committee, which is entrusted with protecting the safety of our families, our communities, and upholding the rule of law, hopefully will see the merits in this legislation and will cast your votes to protect the future victims of those who have chosen to ignore our laws and our state and disrespect our nation. Please vote aye.
Thank you for coming in. I'm very saddened by your personal situation. I think oftentimes, though, however, we think bills like this may solve the problem in future situations, and more often than not they don't. Every circumstance is different. In this case, I would offer to you, very unfortunately, that even if somebody were to be deported, there's no preventing them from coming back. And that gets to my second point of really enforcing immigration laws, dealing with the situation of undocumented immigrants in this country is a federal responsibility. It should be up to them to secure our borders. Should be up to them to create new laws and enforce those laws, rather than put the onus on the state. Let's call the roll.
Solorio?
No.
Solorio, no. Agazarian? Anderson? Anderson, I. De La Torre? Ma? Portantino? Swanson?
Swanson, no.
Swanson, no. It's on call. It needs.
Bill's on call.